Hi guys, welcome back. I've got what I suppose I would call a makeup tutorial video for you guys today. I haven't done one of these on my channel for a while. Recently I've uploaded quite a few sort of chatty style videos where I've kind of discussed a few certain topics, but I'm going back to my nearly full face of a certain makeup brand today, and the brand I'm going to be focusing on is Revolution. Now, Revolution is one of my favourite brands. I think it is a great drugstore brand. It does some really good prices. It's got new and exciting releases. I think the quality is pretty good as well. And I've tried quite a few different products from Revolution now across lots of different categories of makeup. So in today's video, I think I've got a foundation. I've got it all on the floor. I've got a foundation, concealer, bronzer, blusher, highlighter. I've got eyeshadow palettes, and I've got lipsticks, so I've got nearly enough to do a full face for you guys. So I'm just going to get straight into it and tell you about the products that I'm going to be using and my thoughts on them and the brand. Alright, I've already primed my face with the Trini BFF cream, and I've used a little bit of my Bobbi Brown corrector underneath my eyes. So I'm going to go straight in with foundation, and I have the Conceal and Define foundation in the shade 3.5. And this is just a big concealer, I guess. It's got a doe foot applicator, so it's really easy to just draw the product onto your face like you would do a concealer. And this is quite a sort of medium to full coverage concealer. And this is a great drugstore full coverage foundation that doesn't really make you look cakey, make you look like you're wearing a really thick layer of foundation. It's really got a lovely finish, so it doesn't feel quite heavy or quite drying. I like to use this foundation with a damp sponge because that helps to just sheer it out a little bit more, but this actually does blend in quite lovely with your fingers if you do prefer using your fingers to blend in your foundation, and also a brush as well, but I do quite like using a sponge at the moment, especially for the fuller coverage foundations. Just going to go in with a little bit more. This is a really great foundation to build up your coverage as well. So you can go in with a couple of layers, a couple of light layers of this if you wanted to. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but the 3.5 is quite a good shade match for me. Hopefully it's not looking too dissimilar to my neck. There we go, done, lovely. I think this is a really lovely foundation. Now it does say on the bottle it is full coverage, but I would disagree with that. I would say it is more medium because I did have to go in with a couple of coats. And as you can see, I will have to cover up with some concealer. So I don't think it is full coverage, but I think with building it up you definitely can get to full coverage. I've got a concealer from Revolution as well, and this is another Conceal and Define, and this is the Conceal and Define Infinite Long Wear Concealer Crease Proof with Niacinamide Infinite Coverage, and I am also in the shade 3.5 with this. And this is 5 mils, so I think just under a standard concealer size of about 7 mils. I think the packaging of this is quite chunky though. I think you can get a lot slimmer concealers than this, so if you know the Collection Lasting Perfection concealer, that is quite a thin tube, and I think that is bigger in terms of mil than this one, and this is quite a short and stumpy little concealer, so the packaging is a little bit too bulky, I think. This is a nice concealer though. I think this does have quite good coverage from memory, and you can leave this one on your skin for a minute or two to help it kind of dry down a little bit before you start blending it in. With my e.l.f. 16-hour camo concealer I can't do that because it just dries instantly, but this one you do have that playtime with, which is nice. Okay, so I've let this sit on my skin for a minute, so let's see how this blends in and what sort of level of coverage we're going to get. Concealer done. I think that blended in quite nicely, but the areas that I applied concealer to last Once I came to blending those in, they were starting to get a little bit difficult to blend. So I think any longer than a minute leaving the concealer on your skin, you're going to start to have a little bit of difficulty blending it in. So maybe do your eyes, leave it a little bit, blend them in, and then put concealer on the rest of your face and do the same thing. But I think the coverage is good. Again, I wouldn't say it's full coverage, it's medium coverage. I think you can still see a little bit of pigmentation sort of coming through. I'm okay with that though, because, you know, this is skin. I've just powdered using the Laura Mercier Loose Translucent Powder. I'm now going to move on to using my Patricia Bright palette in the shade Moonlight Glow. And this is a bronzer, blush and highlighter trio. And I think these colours all work really well together, and they also work really well on my complexion. So if you've got similar colouring to me, then this would be a good shade for you. There are darker shades in this as well, and I have heard really good things about the other shades in this range. So let's start off with the bronzer. It's not hugely pigmented, but it does allow you to sort of build up that coverage and to be as bronzed as you want to be. This palette is really good for travelling as well, not that we can really do that at the moment, but because you've got your 3 shades in one, just makes it really convenient to grab this whole palette and you've got your bronze, blusher and highlighter sorted. Sorry, there's a pigeon like right outside my window. Let's try the blusher now. I would say the blusher is more pigmented than the bronzer. So if you don't like a huge amount of blusher on your cheeks, just be a little bit lighter handed with it. But it's just a lovely sort of dark peach shade. And then the highlighter. I need to get a new highlighter brush. I'm just using a fluffy eyeshadow brush at the moment. I do have a contour brush from Real Techniques which I tend to use, but I don't really like that for highlight. So I need to get a new highlighting brush. But this highlighter is lovely. It's kind of like a rose goldy in the pan, but on the face it's really pretty. I'm not sure if you can see that, if it's picking it up. Might need a bit more. But this is another lovely one for building up that coverage as well. You can put as much or as little of it on as you want. Lovely. Very nice face palette, that I really do enjoy that one. I've also just put a bit of Urban Decay Primer Potion on my eyelids as well, because we're now going to move on to eyeshadow. And I have a few selections here. I've got the Soph palette, and the hinge did break on this. I think I've managed to secure it with a little bit of sellotape. And this is my favourite eyeshadow palette. If you look at those colours there, just full of really lovely warm shades. You've got a mixture of mattes and shimmers. You can go a bit more neutral down here with the browns. You can play with a few of the brighter shades, more shimmery shades in the middle here. I just love this palette. I think the quality is really good and I'm just so inspired whenever I open it. I think it's a lovely palette. I've also got Soph's really reflective Extra Spice palette. I'm not as keen on this one as the other one. There are fewer shades, but that's not my reason why. I just think this is a little bit more bolder, so when I open this one, I'm a little bit less inspired. I look at this one and I find it a little bit more difficult to know what shades to go for, what looks to kind of put together, but again, a nice selection of your shimmers and mattes. I've also got my We Are Love palette, which is just full of bright shades. If I want a bright eyeshadow palette, this is the palette that I use. These do stain your eyelids a little bit though, so just kind of bear that in mind. And again, a mixture of some sort of shimmers here and then some mattes. So a great spectrum of rainbow colours in this palette. And then I've also got a little Diamonds and Pearls palette here. This is a quad, but I've made this into a trio because the shade that was here was like a bright gold and it just made my eyes stream. I do have to be a bit careful with the shimmery one here. That can make my eyes a little bit sensitive. But lovely little trio here. These shades work really lovely together. So I think as the blusher I'm wearing is quite peachy, quite warm, I think I'm going to go for a warm orangey type eyeshadow look, and I'm going to go for the Soph Extra Spice palette. I'm going to push myself to try and think of what shades to include with this look. So let's go for a bit of cookie dough, this brown one here in the crease. So these colours are quite pigmented. This was just a couple of taps in the pan. Very easy to blend, and these do last all day as well, so I really do love the quality of these Revolution palettes, and they're about £10. So pretty sort of purse wallet friendly as well. They're not going to break the bank. And there's also not a huge amount of fallout as well. I get more fallout with my Urban Decay Naked Heat palette than I do with these ones. Gonna take this orangey shade here called Running Late and also pop that in my crease just to make this look more orange. Going to take a smaller crease brush and use the shade Sweet and Sour here, this darker orange, just to put that a little bit more directly in the crease, just to get a little bit of a darker orange. So I've just put a bit of NYX glitter primer on the inner part of my eyelids because I want to go in with Le Sun, a really glittery, shimmery, sort of yellow gold shade. And I'm going to use my finger to apply that, because shimmers often apply so much better with your finger compared to a brush. Okay, this is pigmented. Wow. These shimmers are quite pigmented anyway, so I don't feel like you have to have that glitter primer to make them stand out. It does help though, it does provide just a bit more vibrancy, but the shimmers in these palettes are actually really good on their own. I'm going to take a bit more of Sweet and Sour, that darker orange, just to sort of connect the shimmery gold to the rest of the look. Just kind of concentrating it in this outer part of my eye now. I think that's so pretty. I think this is a proper sort of summery eye look, this orange and gold shimmer. I feel like the original Soph palette, it's on the floor right over there, I feel like that is kind of better suited for autumn months maybe? Want a bit of that under my eyelid. That is so pretty. I really like that combination. Maybe I should start to use this palette a little bit more often then. Okay, I'm just going to go do a liquid black eyeliner. I'm going to use my KVD tattoo eyeliner. I'm going to use Gimme Brow on my brows. I'm in the shade 3, and then Collection Lash Surge Mascara. Okay, eyes done. I also sprayed my face with the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Setting Spray, I think. And I'm now just going to finish off the look by doing my lips because they're looking very pale at the moment. I have 3 Revolution lipsticks and they are all by Soph, and I think I've featured them all on my channel before, but they are in the shades Syrup, which is this, you can tell that's my favourite, which is the lightest nude. It's like an orangey browny nude. The darkest one is Fudge, and that's just a bit more of a grungy, more truer brown nude. So a better option if you have dark skin. And then Cake is the sort of dusky blue based pink. I really like these lipsticks. I think they're great. They're really pigmented and quite flattering colours for a lot of skin tones, I think. But the problem that I have with these lipsticks, and with Syrup and Fudge in particular, is that they are quite glossy, and if I'm going for like an orangey browny beige nude, I don't want my lips to look glossy. I would like them to look matte. I don't mind it for Cake, for the pink shade. I don't mind that that is a little bit glossy, but if you just pat it down with a tissue, yes, you're going to take away some pigment, but you're going to take away a little bit of that glossiness as well. So my only gripe with this is that I wish these lipsticks were just a bit more matte. So I think for the look that I have gone for today, I think I'm going to go for Syrup, which is my favourite one. It is that kind of light orangey browny beige nude. I don't have a Revolution lip liner, so I've just used MAC Strip Down, and that is quite a good match for Syrup and also for Fudge. So you see what I mean? They are quite glossy, so I am just going to blot this with a tissue and then reapply again and then probably blot again. Okay, lips done. I'm going to zoom you in so you can see just a little bit more closely what the makeup looks like. So this is the skin, so that is the foundation and concealer, and then bronzer, blush and highlight. I've got the lipstick on, and this is the eyeshadow look as well. So what do you think? So this is my final look, my full face or nearly full face of Revolution makeup. Overall, I really like it. I really like Revolution as a brand. I think they do some great quality products. I particularly like the foundation and the eyeshadow palettes, and with this look, how pretty this eyeshadow look has turned out, I really want to play a bit more with that Extra Spice palette. I think that is actually really quite a lovely palette. The lipsticks I really like as well. I really like the colours, not so much the formulation. So I don't know whether I would actually buy those lipsticks again, but I would definitely look for those types of shades again. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate that. If you've also tried any other Revolution products that you think are worth trying, please let me know. I'd be really interested to hear your thoughts on the brand and what other items they do that I should buy. If you're not already subscribed, I would love that as well. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day, guys, and I'll see you again soon in my next video. Take care. Bye bye.